The government, this government is more afraid of black folks with drums than they are black folks with guns. But what they've done is turn the barrel of the drum around on the black community. So that drum beat and pulse that empowered us in Africa, they brought the slaves here, they took the drums. Now they turn the barrel back around, they take the beats. Now they telling the rappers, if you want to deal, you got to talk about killing your own people. The girls, you got to talk about shaking your behind. Now they're putting a different message. So what used to be prayers to God in the form of chants are now destructive lyrics over a mesmerizing drum beat. You understand? And I'm a drummer. I play traditional drums. In the drum family, there are 3 primary sounds. The rule in the culture is there are no more than 4, no less than 3. All right? Meaning there are only four primary at the most sounds, and no less than 3. You have the mother drum, and you have what in some cultures they call the big sister, and then you have the child. In Cuba, the child is called the quinto. That's the loud, that high-pitched drum sound, and the conga is the middle drum, and then the tumba is the big one. Well, in Nigeria, they call the tumba the iya. Well, wherever you go, those are 3 sounds. The iya drum with the big head is the bass sound, that boom, that pulse. That's the one that entrances. So when you beating that pulse drum, it's played to entrance, because there were, in the ceremonies, they would play the drums to call divine angelic possessions. In other words, when the drums are played a certain way, it would put people in a trance to call on divine forces or energies, if you will. Okay? Now, this is common knowledge to folks who study us to keep us in a box. This is why I'm writing a book, because it's to common folk, it's not common knowledge. I just happen to be privy to it because I play drums myself. I learned it as I was playing, and then I started to observe and I started to absorb and understand what was going on. That's why I really connected with hip hop, because I recognize what's going on. I know when I hear that 808 pulse, when you go in the club and the speakers are boom, 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 boom. When you hear that, it go all through your body. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? It's just shaking all through your body. You can't help it, right? Now, take the lyrics, and it's not so much the lyrics on the verse, it's the hook. The hook is the chant. All right? That chant in traditional culture is your prayer. So if you're praying to God and that pulse is entrancing you, it's connecting you intimately with your Creator. But if you play that pulse in the club and Biggie is saying, I'm ready to die, and then 6 months later he's dead, and then Tupac said, I see death around the corner, gotta stay high, will I survive in the city where the skinny niggas die? When they bury me as a G nigga. When you hear Pac sings rapping that, and the beat is pulsing, he's calling death to him over a pulsating beat that traditionally in African culture is played for the purpose of connecting with God and the African forces. Now, it's hard to explain in a cerebral context of an intellectual environment, but yo, that's real. When you hear them drum, when you feel them, you can feel the pulse. Like I brought people to, I've been, like I said, I played in Brazil, then, Puerto Rico. I've been around. When folks come in, you can feel literally the ground vibrating, and people their eyes start rolling back. You know what I mean? How many of you been into a holiness church? See people get happy, catch the Holy Ghost. All right? Well, all right, you see the preacher get up and he start banging on You know, he's creating the spirit. And when people start shouting and they get happy, what they're doing is create. Now, if you take that energy and you add drums to it, crazy, it's over. It's over. But the reason the black church, these things happen in the black church because it's out of the African tradition, minus the drums. And the only reason it's minus the drums is because during slavery they took it from us. So black preachers today are just doing what was passed down. They can only go off of what they were given from their mothers and fathers. And their mothers and fathers go back to the days when slave masters said no more drums. Because we can't control these black folks when they got drums. But then they got wise. Well, we can give them the drums back, but we can tell them to say something, give them a different message. So if we tell them that they're gangsters, and that's what we want them to talk about, now you got black folks using their power, all that power, pointing them guns at each other. Pointing them they were looking at the women like sex objects. But now that pulse is pulling them in, and while they hide up with weed and they drinking gin and juice and everything else under the sun, now they're completely intoxicated and entranced. And they grow up like that. And over, that pulse is what is pulling them in and influences the way and shapes the way. What we got here? Come on in, fellas. These are two of my guys.
How y'all doing?
All right. You want to have a seat? So now you have a pop culture that is driven by that pulse. But then the lyrics keep people divided. All right? Now, I'm talking about black culture, but it affects everybody. But understand something. That drum pulse starts with black folks. And this is something that was learned early on during slavery. It's what a lot of black folks don't know is what power that they hold, because they grow up thinking that they are inferior. We're not inferior, we're different. All people bring a different gift to the world. Every group of people on this face of the earth contributes something different and different gifts to the whole human family. Black people, when it comes to rhythm and entertainment, and the kinesthetic modality, that is where we excel. It doesn't make us less intelligent, it just means we are different. Now, some people might say, well, that's not true. We're all people. Yes, we are all people, but we have different, just like we are shaped differently and have different complexions, we all excel differently. But when we bring all of those gifts together, we can learn from each other. But what happened in this country, capitalistic strengths are used to take those who have the power to unite people with their music and with their energy and with their rhythm, take them and make it destructive, make them turn on each other, kill each other. Then you have the children of America who are basically out there on their own. See, because the dominant culture in America, I call it the dominant lack of culture. This society is all about making money. So there is no honor, there's no integrity. It's not a part of there's no moral fiber in this country. So what happens is you got kids, all racial backgrounds around the world, who love hip hop music. Hip hop is a global phenomenon, but hip hop is a black musical art form.